If you need us, we'll be there for you.
Hi, my name is Brandy. I'm a physical therapist assistant at West Park Rehab. I'm happy to bring you this yoga video series. As a member of the physical therapy profession, I am grateful to play a role in enabling people to do what they love. And for me, yoga is at the top of the list of things that I love to do. There are so many benefits from the practice of yoga, from physical benefits of increased flexibility, improved strength and better balance, to decreased stress and anxiety, and an overall improved quality of life. I've heard so many people say that they know yoga would help them live a better life, but they also believe that their bodies are not fit or flexible enough. Or they just don't know where to start. These videos offer a great starting point. Each video will break down a pose for you and talk about the benefits as well as the contraindications and safety precautions. I will demonstrate and talk you through each pose with different variations and progressions, and even show you how some of the poses might be done modified in seated or at a wall, countertop, or lying down. My hope is that these videos will help yoga become more accessible to anyone who would like to practice. And to add a little bit of local community fun, I've added a photo at the end of each video with me doing the pose in a local spot. So check it out and see if you recognize where I'm at. Thank you for joining me, and please remember to listen to what your body is telling you. Yoga can be challenging, but it should not cause you pain. Let's take a look at tree pose. Tree pose is traditionally called Vrikshasana and is typically considered a balance pose. The pose most definitely will challenge and build your balance, but there is so much more going on with this pose. Strength-wise, the pose can build core, quad, and calf muscles. This pose can also increase flexibility of the internal hip rotator muscles, stretch the inner thigh muscles, and with the arms overhead, the whole side body into the lats and obliques get a great stretch. There are a few contraindications, and the full expression of the pose should not be performed if you have a recent ankle sprain or chronic ankle instability, as well as if you have hip or knee joint pathology such as instability or other injuries. So let's take a look at the pose in action. To get started, we will go from the ground up just like a tree. You want to get rooted into your feet and make sure you have equal weight into both legs and feet. If you are barefoot, maybe lift and wiggle your toes. You also want to make sure you have a very slight bend in both of your knees. You do not want to lock your knees or hyperextend them. Engage your quad muscles and stand nice and tall. Roll your shoulders onto your back and relax them down as you fix your gaze onto something in front of you that is not moving. This fixed gaze will help you stabilize your balance. From here, start to shift your weight into the left foot and raise your right heel to stand onto the ball joints of the toes. Maybe this is as far as you go today. It may be enough of a challenge to stay here and work on the balance. One thing to remember is that the balance can be different from day to day and from side to side. You can try bringing the palms together in front of you and gently press them together to engage the shoulders and the arms. Or you can raise your arms overhead into a V shape. Or bring the palms together overhead and possibly look up into the palms. And then slow and controlled, bring the palms back in front of you. If the balance is feeling pretty good today, we can work on getting the right foot off of the ground. See if you can bend the right knee a bit further and raise it up off the ground in front of you. Just stay here if that challenges your balance enough. Or if you feel steady, you can externally rotate the right hip and gently place your right foot onto the inside of the left shin. It is important to remember here to not place the foot onto the opposite knee. You want to either place it above or below the knee to avoid any unnecessary pressure at the knee joint. From here, if you feel pretty steady and your hips and knees have the flexibility, you can bring your foot up to the inner thigh. Still grounding through the left foot and engaging the core muscles. And wherever you have your foot placed, you can raise your arms overhead into a V shape. Or bring the palms together, looking up into the palms. And here I'm going to show you that this pose can be modified into a seated position if needed. We would still begin by starting at the ground and focusing at our feet or our roots. Wiggle the toes, lift them, and make sure both feet are equally grounded. Sit nice and tall, engage the core, and try not to rely on the back of the chair for support if possible. Roll the shoulders back and down and pick a spot in front of you to focus your gaze on. From here, lift the heel and roll onto the ball joints of the foot. We can stay here and work on focusing on our breath, as well as core engagement and external rotation of the hip. We can bring our palms together in front. Or raise them up overhead into a V. Or just like in standing, we can bring our palms together, getting a nice long stretch along both sides. And if the neck allows, you can look up into the palms. This pose can also be done with one hand at a wall, countertop, or sturdy railing. Grounded at the feet, core engaged, standing nice and tall with the shoulders back and down. Fix your gaze at something in front of you. You would shift the weight onto one side and lift up onto the toes while using the foot as a kickstand. Or you can lift the knee up and work on externally rotating the hip. The knee can become a second point of contact as long as it doesn't cause any pain. You can work on bringing one arm up, or both palms at heart center.
And if you need us, we'll be there for you.